of people wouldn't call this sport a sport, but it is what it is. Hey, man, look, I'm usually like YouTuber man, and you usually wait for the best part of something to talk about something. But I'm not gonna lie. He should have won! He should have won! Oh, my niggas hate Damian Priest. Every last one of them. Me and all of my niggas hate Damian Priest. Fuck that, bruh. Fuck that, bruh. We got a video to do. I'm not gonna pause too much because I'm gonna talk about the entire card, title it, Money in the Bank reaction, some shit like that. But oh my fucking god, bruh, that blew me.
Money in the Bank is...
Well, I won't say blew me because I'll be honest, Damian Priest was too. I said in the old video, Damian Priest was too. I think it was LA Knight, Damian Priest, about this big of a gap, and then everybody else you trolling. Like, shout out to Logan Paul, you would have brought clout, but they're like, nah.
Is over, and there's a new Senior Money in the Bank. Join us now as
and if he explains why I felt this way, then you'll hear why I felt this way.
WrestleMania looks at the real reasons why Damian Priest won the men's Money in the Bank ladder match and why the favorite lost. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Don't care.
Money
Respect to your channel, but don't care right now, man.
Enhance the Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor match. And tonight, Seth Rollins versus...
Did it! Did it though? Like, did you have to rush it? Like, did you really have to? Like, you could have hinted at it. Like, you're not wrong, but you're not right either to me. And what I mean by that is, in terms of Damian Priest, so I'll cat out the bag early. The reason why Damian Priest was 2, in a clear 2, is because Damian Priest with the briefcase allows him to A, split from Judgment Day, and then B, obviously he is insanely over. The problem with him winning is I think you could just argue he gets a title shot without it. I think LA Knight quite literally needs it because outside of beating Ray clean, doesn't really have a win-loss thing to get him over. He's just been cutting insane promo after insane promo and looking good in ring when he is in ring. But in terms of like getting that actual opportunity and skyrocketing to it, outside of the potential Royal Rumble, LA needed that. Like he just did. Damian Priest had matches with Seth for all the fuck we like, for all we know. He didn't need it. So that's the only thing. But I mean, Damian is 2 for a clear reason. He's like easily the second most over person in that match outside of maybe Shinsuke at this point because niggas is bringing Shinsuke back and I love it. But in terms of enhancing this match, obviously he pulled up and made it like a, oh, wow, so he might cash in on whoever wins type thing. Yeah, no shit. Any Money in the Bank would have done that. Like, if it, LA Knight, basically what I'm saying is if it was LA Knight, the same shit would have went down. Like, dead ass, the same shit would have went down, except it's not a hint of betrayal, But, like, you could have had Money in the Bank have this match and perfectly fine, clean one way or the other, and the shit would have been just as impactful with Priest. So in terms of this specific point, I don't know. If Finn Balor won the World Championship without Priest showing up, that next image of Rhea, Damian, and Finn all having world titles, that's gas. That's hard. So it didn't need that. And then obviously, if Seth won, Finn's pissed, and then Damian's kind of like, well, I got my job done. Rhea got her job done. Dom lost, but like, yeah, I'm a
Finn Balor match wasn't everything we expected it to be, as the match dragged at times. Still, Damian Priest's appearance at ringside with the briefcase instantly livened things up, as fans wondered whether Damian would cash in the briefcase. Priest seemed to be thinking it over enough that it proved a distraction, first for Seth Rollins and later for Damian's Judgment Day teammate Finn Balor.
So it's
unknown if the WWE felt the Finn versus Seth match needed some extra excitement, although the recent rumors of WWE not viewing Balor as a world champion along with heavy odds against him winning make this more credible when it delivered the goods. Number 2, it creates tension in the Judgment
Now,
Day.
that one I agree with.
Right
I'm not
now,
even gonna
fans
pause.
don't know how long it'll be before Damian Priest leaves the Judgment Day.
He has to
Although
turn
it's
on
possible
Judgment Day.
they could swerve fans by keeping Priest in the group and having them get rid of Finn Balor, much as they surprise fans when the group keeps its founder Edge out.
No offense to you, because I'm going to talk about the card personally. This isn't a video reaction, so I'm actually going to skip forward, because it quite literally, this. like this I've already talked about, so I'm going to just fast track even further than this, because I've already said if Damian wins the briefcase, he just leaves Judgment Day. And that's fucking fine. You can have, I think his name is JD, you can have that motherfucker get that shit, so yeah, that's fine.
Storyline for Raw. While this seems like a little bit of a stretch, Priest's win tonight could be used in a storyline on Raw, with the WWE showing Priest was ready to cash in his briefcase on Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. As good an opportunity as ever existed to...
honestly, this shit was crazy, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Dethrone the Tribal Chief. They could have shown backstage footage of infighting with the Judgment Day or jealousy inside the group, keeping them from providing backup for Damian to cash in the briefcase and take out any interference from the Usos or Solo Sikoa. Number 6, it was a surprise. Expect to see plenty of reports that Damian Priest was the WWE's pick to win.
Was it though? He was so obvious. Like, he was another favorite. It was LA or Priest. Who went in there thinking, outside of the couple of people that was like, oh, Logan Paul, I just think y'all are stupid. I don't think a soul alive, and I'm not a wrestling tryhard nigga. This is video for the somehow wrestling analytic guys. I don't even know how that culture exists. But nah, for the real wrestling fans even. Like, it was so obvious. The two people that were most box office in this match, in terms of, like, not pure clout, because then Logan Paul, but in terms of the WWE universe, LA Knight, Damian Priest. I don't know how he was a surprise. Surprise is crazy.
Win Money in the Bank all along, but like any wrestling story,
and this isn't hate watching the video. I'm just getting something to react
to. Because longtime fans knows the WWE likes to keep fans guessing, especially when there's a favorite to win the match. LA Knight was a favorite with odds makers, as well as many fans and pundits, with Logan Paul coming in at a distant second. Having Priest win the briefcase wasn't a case of hot-shotting, as will show the many reasons he makes it a viable winner, but fans should never rule out a last-minute switcheroo if Vince McMahon feels that things are getting a little too predictable. Number 7, Priest was the most formidable competitor. Tonight's men's ladder match featured the ideal...
But that's never been what Money in the Bank is about. The best, like, the most strongest person in Money in the Bank has never always won. And unless that's gonna be your, I got you, see, that's why you should have won. That's not a point. That's not a point. Nah, that's not a point. It typically never goes to that person. If anything, you don't want it to go to that person. Kind of like what I said earlier.
Arrangement of performers with a supporting cast of high flyers and technicians to take bumps, or building suspense as to who would win. As we mentioned in our analysis of the men's ladder match, the supporting cast was used to keep fans in suspense as to who would emerge victorious. Ultimately, Damian Priest was a good choice, as he's the wrestler who is currently booked as the strongest wrestler from those who competed in this year's match. Even with the help of the Money in the Bank briefcase, it's hard to imagine Butch, Ricochet, or even Shinsuke posing a bigger threat to a champion than Damian Priest. Number 8, it's a reward for the Archer of Infamy.
And I'm done. And now we're trolling. Hey man, look, he has 1.96 million subscribers. If you get offended by me clicking off your video, dude, let alone even know that I watched it, I don't know what else to tell you. But now we're trolling. So let's just talk about the rest of the event. Again, if you think Damian should have won, that's fine. The reasoning that he said, there's two of them. Essentially, the storyline and the fact that, three. Essentially, Damian's over, there's a storyline now, and you can get him out of Judgment Day. And 2 and 3 are kind of like the same thing. Outside of that, LA should have won. I think we all know that. But let's move on. Any nigga says Logan Paul for views, you're just trolling. Any nigga that said what he just said, I don't even remember what he just said because it was that bad of a troll. But let's look at the Money in the Bank card, bro. Now let's just talk. Money in the Bank 2023 card. Let's just talk about the matches. There we go. Had to find one. Okay, this is not a clean card. That's not easy to see. I'm gonna just search it. Search it on Twitter. Money in the Bank card. Or should I search MITV? There we go. Boom. There we go. Finally. Fuck. All right. First things first. Someone in chat talked about it, so let's just get this out the way. John Cena pulling up. Fucking love that guy. Fucking love that guy. Love John Cena pulling up. Love that motherfucker. Starting off with the Finn Seth match, because we already kind of talked about it, so I'm not going to loop back to it. Just to get it out the way. Good match. He did say it dragged a little bit. I didn't say that. I actually lagged. My shit lagged right before Seth ended up winning, so I had to rewatch how shit broke down. It wasn't that bad. I don't think it dragged or nothing like that. It was a pretty solid match. Definitely not their best match between each other. I think even the time that Seth beat him for the qualifier was probably a better version of their match, but it wasn't a bad match. It was typical face is injured, heel is diabolical, heel actually could have won type shit. So it was cool. Cool little match. Gunther and Riddle, that match was hilarious. That was a funny one. That one was genuinely funny, bruh. Like, I didn't think they would have Riddle tap. That threw me left. It wasn't exactly S tier or anything by the stretch, but it was serviceable enough one. But I ain't gonna lie. It asserted dominance that Gunther really ain't got no bump. And I fuck with it. So for the most part, you'd be like, okay, I ain't gonna lie, Sage, it sounded pretty mid if you're saying Seth and Finn had better matches and then Gunther and Riddle's match was just funny. First of all, Seth and Finn is Seth and Finn regardless. And second, that's not all that happened at fucking Riddle and Gunther's match, because right when you did think, damn, we just had a squash match at a goddamn pay-per-view. Like, you thought it was a squash match at a goddamn pay-per-view, then next thing you know, you hear these. Shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. Big Drew came through. And the imagery was fire with it too, man. Drew came through taller than Gunther, looking like more shredded than Gunther. Like, it was nice imagery to have this motherfucker come back and look like he can actually fuck with Imperium by himself. So it's nice to see Drew back. I know the rumor saying he was going to leave or some shit. Never bought it, especially after he got drafted. But this should be a fun little rivalry. I wouldn't even be mad if Drew won this one. I'm not going to lie. Drew is one of the, like, 4 names I say can knock off Gunther. That actually is valid. Pay-per-view was mid? Oh, hell nah. You're part of mid culture. That's sad. And the reason why you're part of mid culture is that was sad because these 2 matches, you could argue, like these 2 matches, you could argue whatever the fuck you want. There ain't no argument about men's Money in the Bank. Men's Money in the Bank was gas all the way through. The only spot that's getting talked about negatively was the Logan Ricochet one when they fell off the ship, but that was supposed to be fucking fire, and it still looked good. It was just scary, but it still looked good. So, nah, men's Money in the Bank, I don't even have that much to say. Every person in the match got their love, in my opinion. Even Pete, obviously, was in the UK. I said Pete. Butch, because he's in the fucking UK. Ricochet looked good. Logan Paul looked great. I know one of the Discord members, I forgot who. I think it's Alizar. One of y'all hate Logan Paul. I don't understand it yet again. Shinsuke got an ovation. I love that. LA Knight proved why he was beyond the most over person outside of maybe the fucking bloodline at the damn event. Santos was gas. Damian was gas. That match was fire. There's nothing to talk about there. Women's Money in the Bank, I'll say, of all the people that are getting negativity for the card, if there was one match that I say, it actually was this match, even though there were some cool spots. The intrigue of this match really wasn't there to begin with, in my personal opinion. But there were some moments, 100%. Zelina Vega, I almost called her Vega. Hey, shit. She looked good regardless. But nah, that wasn't even a joke. I just almost fucked her name up, actually. Reality is, though, Zelina Vega proved yet again she can wrestle. I wanted her to win, actually. I think EO was a little too obvious, but I was fucking with it. But I like how the Bayley EO dynamic is probably gonna go down now. I like that they basically said Becky Lynch could solo squad Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus. That shit was funny. And even Trish and Zoe, while Trish wasn't able to effortlessly perform every move she wanted to do, she was definitely she was actually way better than I thought she'd be. So that match was good. It was just in terms of the stories in it, the damage control story being the best one is kind of like the Becky Trish Zoe thing. I don't think a lot of people really care about. So that's why I think you could have had Zelina win that, because considering the two stories in play, she's literally the one outlier. You could have had the one outlier get it, but ultimately you're telling a story with Io and Bayley, and that's fine. Cody Dom. I know people like to see a lot of back and forth, kick out a finisher shit. That was actually cool. I like how they handled that match, essentially. Now, I ain't gonna lie, they had this nigga Cody walk fucking miles, but I like how they handled that match. I really do. It essentially implied, yo, unless something insane happens, Cody Rhodes would squash this motherfucker. But the crowd was into it because I talked about LA Knight getting crowd reactions. These two niggas on a week-to-week basis get the loudest pop and the loudest boo routinely, and it's still gonna be that way. I liked everything like that, and I like that they didn't bring Brock out. Because Brock coming out was way too fucking predictable, considering you seen this on the headline and you're like, okay, well, how would you spice up Cody Rhodes? So you bring Brock Lesnar out. So I'm actually very happy that he didn't come out. And as someone just typed in chat, I said in the past, say it again, give Dom a belt. I know that sounds crazy. Give Dom a belt. He had an entertaining match with Cody Rhodes, who is beyond the biggest face in your company. Give Dom a belt. He doesn't have to out wrestle people. That's not the point of his character at all. You could have Mommy be a essential two-time simultaneous double whatever the word is chant. You could essentially have Mommy be a double belt motherfucker, but Dom technically is the champion. 100%. Give that nigga a belt. This match was the shocking match of the night to me. I thought this would be the food break. I thought this would be the bathroom break. No, it's not because they're women, but it's just because this match was thrown in, I think, a day before. So it was like, okay. And then to be honest, not a lot of people are a fan of Ronda. So I definitely was like, okay, this match is going to be a snoozer. And then I'm not going to lie, it just wasn't. it just actually wasn't. Liv Morgan, nice to have Liv back. Not much more to say. Raquel Rodriguez, nice to see her wrestle. Not much more to say. Shayna Baszler turning on Ronda Rousey. Random, but I fuck with it because her personality warrants it being random. So it is what it is. I was cool with that. I think people are going hard on this pay-per-view now. Again, I don't know what's up with things being hyped day one and then day two it's being the worst thing ever. I wouldn't say none of this is mid. I think this, so far, if this was the entire card, obviously you don't cut out the main event of a card. But so far, I'd say up to this point, I'd give it like a 7.5. I'd say given a couple of changes, it could have even been an 8. And then the Civil War happened. Now, I am not a typical hype beast person. You know, I like my second favorite guys to be the person I argue for the most. You know what I'm saying? I like the underground rapper type of niggas, so you can be like, hey, see, I knew it all. I understand that. I fully do. But sometimes, chat, we just have to sit back and acknowledge that, yo, the main card for the reason. This match, that was a fucking match, dog. First things first, I'm going to go left to right here. And I'm going to talk about, I'm literally going to go left to right here. Starting off with the Tribal Chief. I love the idea that he was thrown off ever since he walked in the arena. I love that idea. So you essentially nerf him a little bit. If you're going to ultimately have him get pinned, you have to nerf him a little bit. You just do. I know that sounds impractical because he always cheats. You just do. So I like that essentially he was mentally fucked. Let alone is he going against his brothers. Let alone does he not know if Solo's going to turn against him. I just loved everything about it. And then the environment adding on to it made it even more believable that he could actually lose. Because typically with every Roman matches, like, he's going to somehow get away with this. And I like how they even toyed with your emotions and hurt the ref again. I loved a lot of things about that. And I'll even say this. Niggas ain't gonna want to say today, Roman is dead ass in GOAT talks. I've been said that a minute ago. He's never gonna be the number one guy to people, and that's fine because he's probably not even my number one guy. But Roman Reigns personally, S tier match. Like just Roman himself, let alone everybody else. S tier match. Like in-ring, out-of-ring dialogue after the match, prior to the match. Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank was literally S tier. Like, you ask more, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't know what else you want from a wrestler than how that man performed that night. I don't know what else you want. That nigga was on timing. Shout out to Roman Reigns. Truly is going to be in GOAT debates one day. Let's get to Solo Sikoa, man. I like what they doing with Solo. I like what they're doing. They're not implying that he actually will beat Roman, but they're implying that he scares the everlasting shit out of Roman. I love that. I love that. And especially when you have Roman as a character who he's going to put a mask on. He's going to tell you, hey, tag me in. He's going to test you. Roman is a character that will never actually backstab you. He'll think something, he'll plan accordingly, but he'll never actually pull the trigger. So even if he is scared shit of Solo, he gonna say, hey, nah, bro, tag me and acknowledge me. And I like how Solo starting to regret this shit, starting to realize that his brothers might be right all along, but at the same time, they're still his tribal chief, and he's not really like a backstabbing person either. And on top of that, I don't even know if he necessarily wants to be the tribal chief, but he does think he can be type shit. I fuck with what they're doing with Solo, and Solo don't even have to talk. Jimmy and Jay. Especially Jay, but Jimmy and Jay, man. Yeah. That right there. That right there is how you tell the Usos story. I love Jimmy starting the match off essentially being outclassed because it was built up the entire time that Roman and Solo are just like on this level. Like the bloodline is built so like Solo could fuck with Gunther type shit. And then there's Roman Reigns. So the fact, I loved how they started off the match with Jimmy just getting his ass beat. Because logically, he shouldn't just be able to throw hands with Solo and Roman off rip. That just wouldn't make any sense. But over time, they started getting tag strats. They started working with each other back and forth. They pinned down Solo, then they got Roman out of his game. They showed that they know how to work in that chaotic environment too when you knock the ref down. They know how to play dirty as well because they were in the bloodline. I love the synergy between Jimmy and Jay. I don't have too much to say about Jimmy personally because, to be honest, this match, not a lot of it, Jimmy definitely had his moments throughout the story, 100%. But this match was truly about Jey Uso. This nigga Jay. First of all, I've seen some people complain about this, and this one actually is a somewhat valid complaint, but I still support the decision that they made. I still support the decision they made, but I understand why, well, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find this, John. Do they have it? Do they have it up already? Oh, they might actually. Oh, yeah, they do. People have complained about this one part about this match. People have complained about this. Because I ain't gonna lie, this is crazy. Oh, my God! People have complained about Jay essentially kicking out of that, but you're not talking about essentially all of the time taken just because Roman Reigns is the type of motherfucker that have to prove his point and call a shot. They then had to go on and I think put Jimmy through a table and then they brought him in the ring and tried to stack him, and he couldn't do it. Or something like that. Or like they definitely, if I got the table thing wrong, they definitely tried to drag Jimmy after that, and that was like 10, 15 seconds. So I don't think Jay kicking out was the nastiest thing that happened. But I could see why some people would believe that. Some people think with doing this, you imply that Jay is over Cody, over Brock and all that. I think that just ignores a lot of context. But even if you have to look at it that plainly, this is going to piss some of y'all off, man. WWE should always be about telling stories. It should always be about telling stories. This story, sorry, outside of the Cody one that they're probably going to build up soon, easily the hottest in the industry. Easily the hottest in the industry. You let Jay kick out there. You let both of them kick out there like they did. You truly do let that happen. You let it be known that this is the greatest tag team of your generation that you've been pushing all along. And you let them actually go on to win this match. Now, speaking of winning the match, that nigga pinned Roman. That nigga pinned Roman, bro. That nigga pinned Roman, bro. Like, fool. That nigga pinned Roman. So now you gotta have Jay versus Roman. 100%. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Jay Roman SummerSlam, lock it in. Before you even see the poster, lock it in. It's quite literally, he shoots up in the contender slot. But nah, man, that nigga pinned Roman. Again, some people were mad at Jay for getting kicked out. Some people wanted Solo to get pinned. Solo getting pinned is too predictable. And I like the direction that they took. I like the direction that they took, that essentially Roman is beatable if he does not have the bloodline. And that Solo and Roman are not the bloodline. It's straight up good storytelling. Nothing else to say there. That's why people calling this pay-per-view a 6. Call it dick suck. This match is too good to call the entire pay-per-view a 6. So you could go from 7 up, and at that point, I'm thinking you think this whole shit was ass. If you want to be one of them Twitter niggas, go for it. I'm giving this like a 8.5, maybe even a 9. I just think it fumbled the ball on this match. Not necessarily this match. Obviously, I wanted LA to win, but you didn't calling Damian winning a fumble is crazy. I know I was emotional earlier, but calling Damian winning a fumble is insane. That's not a fucking fumble. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine, especially with the Drew comeback. This is actually one of the highlights of the night. This was good. I think this is going to go down as an underrated one in terms of the story, but it's not a match you go rewatch. This was okay, and this I think was easily like the worst match of the night. I think you definitely just I'm not that I don't like EOS Money in the Bank, but I think you definitely just have Zelina win it. I think you could tell the Damage Control story without EO winning. The same way you could kind of do that with Damian Priest. You could just tell the story. And in this match, considering everyone had a rival and then Zelina was there, it would have been nice if she was the one person to actually win. So that's just what I feel about the pay-per-view, though. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Chat has given it anything between a 7.5 to a 9. Nobody said 10. I don't think you can say 10. Not every match was perfect. Not every spot was perfect, but it definitely had its memorable moments. This is one of the better pay-per-views, especially considering that there's a whole John Cena that you don't even see on screen. It was fucking great.